Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Small Things. Man, we got into it today. We talked about sperm donors. We talked about living in the woods alone and people speeding on the highway. And guess what? All three of those piss me off. I'm getting old. I'm not grumpy. I'm just annoyed at dumb people. Stay tuned. There's a lot of hot topics I discussed, and I think you'll enjoy it. Two of those things are actually TV shows that I do recommend watching, which me and my girlfriend have been digging into. We finally have a show at night. We know how annoying it is to find a new show, so you're welcome. That being said, we also talked about attraction and how apparently there's this complex where you find the characteristics of family members look hot, and it got real incestual and weird. And I said one of my friends has a wife that looks like his mother, and guess what? At the end of my episode, in the bonus portion, you can find out which friend that is, and we also dig into some more risque things because the end of this episode will be on my OnlyFans, link below. Come support my podcast by subscribing. I would really appreciate it. You can also shoot me messages on there, so the end of the episode can be kind of like a little inside baseball type thing. But enough rambling on me. Appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and any other cool feature that YouTube is throwing at me. YouTube, please show people my way, and enjoy this episode. Thanks.
You bring her out, you have her hold small things. It's time to think about things that we call tall. Really isn't anything big, it's all small. I'm getting mixed feels knowing what the pod brings, cause it's a big deal listening to small things. You bring her out, you have her hold small things.
Okay, guys. Hey, guys. Welcome back to a new episode of Small Things. It's an exciting week. We had a lot of fun things go down this past week, all of which annoyed me. I mean, the older I get, the more annoyed I get. And I don't know if I'm more annoyed because I'm just becoming a grumpy man, or because I'm realizing I'm opening my third eye, which is the old man eye. Everything around me annoys me because people are stupid. I mean, there's just stupidity on a mass level, and the older you get, I think you slow down and you're able to witness what's happening down to a level that makes you hypersensitive. I mean, I'm driving on the highway. People are doing, every now and then, I don't know what's going on lately. Every now and then I'm driving on the highway and there's like just one car doing like 100, swerving through the other cars. And I will say deep down, I want them to just hit the side of the median and just kind of take themselves out. I mean, I know it sounds gruesome. But I mean, the thought of them crashing into another car, it enrages me. I mean, I fantasize about speeding up to them, seeing what's going on. I mean, I'm genuinely curious what's going on. But anyways, I was driving home from a show last night, and there's a car. If I'm in the middle of the clock, there's a car at 2 o'clock. There's another car right next to that car. You can't go to my left. I see this car flying up doing 100, and I'm shortening the gap between me and the car at 2 o'clock. I hope you can understand this picture. And I was like, man, if I don't slow down, this car is something's going to happen. And luckily I did, but it still swerved in, and it swerved so hard to the left in front of me and in between me and the other car that like it whipped back, and it almost like spun out like while driving on the highway. And the things I said, oh my God, it's just like I don't want to swear this early on the podcast, but it made me so angry. I mean, and I'm seeing this a lot to the point where I'm like, let's just get cameras on the highway. People don't want to get monitored and watched. Dude, I'm all for it. Get cameras on the highway. I want speeding tickets issued because the cameras go off. I don't like when people can do what they want, because it's the times where people are being like irresponsible that, you know, I just fear the day that I'm driving well and one of these cars just smokes me, and I'm just like, that's how I'm going to go out because some fucker. No, I can't have that happen. That's the old man in me. I don't know. It's not even funny. It's just even funny. I'm kind of angry right now. And then literally 5 minutes later, I'm driving and there's another car that gets on the on-ramp, speeding again, just going nuts. He cut before the on-ramp even like bled into the other lane, doing some erratic shit. and this fucking guy almost hit a guy on a motorcycle to the point where I beeped at the guy on the motorcycle, which imagine if I startled him and he went into the other car. That'd be fucked up. But I panicked. I go, oh, and I hit the horn. And then I honestly, I thought about following that guy. Lately, I've been hitting my flashers. I like flash at them so they think I'm like an undercover cop. And then they see me driving. They're like, that's not a cop. That's a big bitch. But I don't know. I hate when people just do what the fuck they want. I don't know why that bothers me. I think because we set up these rules. I mean, I get that, No, I don't get it. I just get annoyed. I want people to fucking obey. I mean, even me and Mandy are walking today, and we see dog shit on the sidewalk, and I'm like, think about that person who let the dog shit and just kept fucking moving on. Think about that person. And you wonder why we have wars and nobody can understand things. I'm like, boil that person down to that one decision of inconsiderateness, and it just paints a picture of like why everybody is the way they are. They're just fucking pieces of shit. And you gotta think that dog shit person. There's probably 10 million of them in the world. I mean, arguably more. And that's a pretty low misdemeanor, but it's still painting the picture that you're better than everybody else. You don't want to pick up shit. I mean, don't have a dog. I mean, dog owners are already, they think they're the best. Dog owners think they're adopting humans. They treat these dogs. I love dogs. Dogs are not in this argument. It's the behavior of the dog owner. They act like they're saving the life of an orphan child. I'm like, this dog, I read a stat that when people die, their dogs like start to eat their heads and shit. Or like I'm like, the dog doesn't know you. Like, I don't care how many military people coming home videos are out there. The dog, if you gave that dog away in a year, it would find a new family and it would wag its tail when they came home, just the way it did with you.
My dog, I gave it away to my mom and doesn't even want anything to do with me.
Finn. Finn, exactly. These dogs, but that's a fucking dog owner, and they walk around with their fucking tail hanging high because they think they're... I mean, dog owners I've had a beef with since day one, because there's a fine line of like you're helping an animal in distress, but there's the opposite side of that is you're prolonging death. And sometimes death isn't a bad thing. I mean, I feel like these dog owners, you're really teetering on the line, and I think a lot of you are crossing the line and prolonging something, and you're actually making its life more miserable. I mean, I see dogs in wheelchairs that are just barely getting by. Like I mean, let's put the dogs in the wheelchair to the side. I see dogs like that are so old, they're like 12 feet behind your owner. When your dog is walking behind you, you gotta start thinking, what's the out strategy of this, rather than dragging this poor thing up a fucking hiking trail. I feel bad for old dogs. I had an old dog. I mean, it's a tough decision, but I mean, that's, you guys hold yourself to such a high regards. You have to make tough decisions, and keeping your dog on a ventilator and putting it in a wheelchair I don't think it's the thing. I don't know, but putting a dog down is probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do. I mean, it's fucked up. There's nothing funny about it. I mean, we had to put our dog down, and after that, I was just like, yeah, I can't do this pet thing anymore. I don't know. My mom, they had to put our cat down, and she was just like, my mom was just like so blown away that they had to do that. She's like, I thought cats just like walk off into the woods. I'm like, they're not heroes of movies. Like, what are you talking about? She thought the cat's just like, you know what, I'm doing pretty bad. My cat had AIDS. My cat had feline AIDS, which I didn't even know was a thing. I thought AIDS is just AIDS across the board. But good for my cat. He just he beat AIDS. He had AIDS for 16 years, and I think that's a good. Can
I not give a different name for that?
Yeah, why do you have to call it AIDS?
What's the correlation?
Why? What's the difference between human AIDS and feline AIDS?
Yeah.
Human AIDS you get from a dick. Feline AIDS you get from a pussy. Oh. No, I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't think there's. I don't really know, but I mean, there's actually a lot of cat STDs. I feel like I'm gonna look this up real quick. I don't know if I want to look this up right now. Google is just a scary thing.
Your Instagram ads are all gonna be for cat AIDS.
Among STDs, feline herpes is one of the more aggressive viruses, estimated to infect more than 90% of cats. Symptoms include sneezing attacks, eye ulcers, loss of appetite, and depression. It was affecting his immune system and his respiratory system, and he was not able to process food. How contagious is FIV in cats? Although FIV isn't easily transmitted between cats, what is FIV? I don't know. Cats are fine. I love cats. I had a cat growing up. We like cats, but then we just recently, house sat a cat. And again, cat owners aren't any better. I feel like they're, they talk them up. Everybody talks their cat up. Everyone talks their own pet up. Just be honest. Say this thing fucking sucks. Just put it up with it. Just deal with it. You can leave it outside. I don't know. That's the thing with LA. I think I never had an issue with animals before until I moved to Los Angeles, because I feel like back home, animals were outdoor creatures. Like, not that you're leaving your dog or cat out all night or 24 hours a day, but I feel like, the dog went outside, the dog shit outside, it went outside, it comes in, then it goes back outside. The cat's outside fucking eating things and bringing dead shit back. But then when you move to LA, you're like, there's a selfishness, which brings me back, that kind of touches on the death thing. But you're like, to leave an animal in a studio apartment with you for like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem like a nice thing to do. I don't know. Leaving a fucking cat in an apartment, though, you're like, I'll go on record and say dog shit smells better than cat shit does. Cat shit smells like somebody put acid on dog shit. I mean, cat shit... We house sat a cat, and it's like, I was like, all right, let's put the litter box in the bathroom, thinking like, oh, we shit there. That handles the smell well. Dude, this cat shit, like in the middle of the night, and it was just smelled like somebody took a dump on our bed. It was probably the most disgusting smell, and it doesn't go away. Like, now you're scooping things. Kitty litter is bizarre. Like, it kind of like solidifies it, but it still smells bad, and now you're shaking shit. Kitty litter gets all over everything. It's under my feet. I swear to God, there's still some under our cupboard thing over there. I see the white part, and I'm like, I can't do this. And then you think the shit's bad. The piss, dude, cat piss is like vinegar. It's just like, it cuts through everything. I don't know. The fact that we even have pets, what a bizarre... where's the first pet? Like, who was the one to... But I like the idea of how we train dogs. I don't know if we've talked about this before, where they basically took 10 they find 10 of the friendliest wolves, make them breed, and then they have the puppies of that. They find the friendliest ones of those. So you're just taming us, the puppies down to be like a fucking... just like a dumbed down version of this dog. Is that interesting? Yeah. Why don't we do that with people? They kind of, they should do it with smart people. I always thought, I'm like, that would be fucked up, but I'm like, imagine if they took the smartest people and then we just watched the fucking show, with 1,000 babies. Sorry, I'm going to say that again without burping into the mic. Me and Mandy just watched the show Man with 1,000 Babies, which has to do with sperm donors. Basically, all these women, a lot of lesbians in that show, except for one couple.
They needed sperm donors.
Mandy, I know why. I'm just saying there was. They only had one heterosexual couple. The guy got the vasectomy. But anyways, it was in Sweden. They're reaching out to get sperm from a sperm donor. Not to ruin the show, but basically this guy and his buddy were running the site, and they were basically all the names on there. The site had a bunch of names and characteristics of the people on the site to kind of like tickle the feather of did they make the other people like seem less attractive and made their two profiles seem the best? I don't remember that part.
I think no.
I don't know. But anyways, these dudes, and we learned there's a community, but these two guys in particular, one in particular who the show is mainly about, he was just donating sperm, and I guess there's like a limit in Sweden and just in general, like you can only have like 25 kids, you can donate that many times. This guy, they did the math, and he had like fucking 1,000 kids because they get addicted to it. It's like a game, like down to they're psychopaths down to the point where like him and the other dude that he ran the site with were mixing sperm and giving it to the couple. They would call it sperm roulette, which is kind of like, that's funny that I'm like, that's weird that I'm like, who was the one doing the mixing? I mean, that's kind of like, you two are fucked up. But so anyways, they're getting all jacked up that this guy, these two are getting all fucking wild that, they're, it's like addicting. They want to have more kids and shit. And one of the issue, because at first I was like, why does it matter? And then one of the issues, feel free to chime in whenever. I know I'm kind of just barreling. I'm talking to Mandy right now. One of the issues is that, and it makes sense. They're like, oh, you can't have, you can't, like, if he has like 500 kids in one area, what's going to happen when they get older is that they don't know they're related to each other. And they said, like, biologically, like, if they don't know that they're siblings, they're going to see like themselves and the other person and think it's like, oh, they're attracted to them. Basically, they're worried it's going to cause widespread incest, which is obviously not a good thing, which probably is still going to happen.
I didn't know that you're attracted to somebody naturally if they have the same.
Well, it's like the Oedipus thing. Like, he was attracted to his mom. They always say, like, you find someone, maybe not across the board, but it's like, they say, like, levels of attraction. Like, you find someone who reminds you of one of your relatives, or you see, like, because you like your family, so you find something, and sometimes it's like a visual thing where you're like, you don't realize, like, that. I mean, look at my friend, his wife looks like his mom. I'm not going to say his name. Guy, he's not watching this, but it's like, oh, I wish I could pull this up right now. Join my Patreon or join my OnlyFans if you guys want to see which friend I'm going to talk about at the end of this episode. And it's interesting because his wife looks like his mom, and that reinforces that. But yeah, they said like there's an immediate bond, and these kids don't know they're related, and then they start fucking sucking and fucking each other, and then next thing you know, Sweden's dropping on the intelligence charts because of the old. Why is incest bad? I mean, biologically, like what? I wonder why it's bad.
I don't know scientifically.
Well, like they saw that there's like that family that's in like the middle of fucking nowhere, and they're so incest that like they can't even like speak, and they're like, they say your color, your skin turns like a hue of blue.
Ooh.
They turn like Smurfs. Are Smurfs just like a incest? I feel like Disney and all these like cartoons. How come all these cartoons is always such like a creepy undertone? Remember like all the Disney movies? Like if you pause here, it says sex in the clouds. You're like, ew. That's fucking bizarre. But maybe Smurfs is hinting at that Swedish village in the future. Maybe. Anyways. But yeah, they caught the guy. You didn't watch the end of it. They caught the guy. They had so he vowed he wasn't going to do it, and then they had to trick the dude into basically admitting that he's still willing to donate. So they catfished a dude. Catfishing. Why is catfishing so successful as a means of infiltrating like anything? Like literally, if you want to get anywhere, pose as a woman online and start shooting off messages, and you'll get your answers. But
I think people always get caught because they're greedy.
Well, the guy was greedy. So basically, they made this fake account, and then they started flirting with him, And he goes, yeah, I'm down to donate, which is essentially him admitting he's still willing to do it. They showed those documents to the court to then expedite the trial. And then this guy, they had the trial, and then he got banned from donating sperm. And if he got caught, every time he got caught, it'd be $100,000 or euro, which is interesting to say the least.
Did they say how much he made during this?
Mm-mm. They didn't say that ever.
Weird.
And it's funny, like there was one part where he was going to donate for that lady. They were catfishing, but he went out of the country. Come to find out, Kenya was doing a program where they were paying for sperm donors. They were paying for 2 weeks, put you up for 2 weeks, cover your expenses if you gave enough sperm for 25 kids. So now this like community of these sperm donors all were go there, and there was like a Facebook freaking thing. There was a Facebook chat or page, and they were all like talking on there, and these ladies creeped on it, and the lawyer, and they found the guy didn't use the main guy, I forgot his name, but he didn't use his real name, but all the other sperm donors were like, oh, the lion is here. And then this guy was a vlogger of all people too. I mean, the fact that these lesbians were finding him so worthy of his sperm was insane, considering he was a YouTuber. He would send them like within minutes. He would send them like they're like, oh, what do you like to do for fun? He goes, here's the song I wrote, and it was like it was like an alternative rock song. And anyways, so for some reason they were all looking up to him, and they called him a lion. And throughout all his YouTube vlogs, it's him referring to himself as looking like a lion. But yeah, isn't it crazy? Kenya was like doing all that shit, and you're like, what a weird underground world of like, all that shit. But the catfishing worked. One time, did I tell you the story? We catfished my roommate in college. This was like original Facebook. I mean, Facebook in 2009 was like, you needed a college email to get on it. And I remember, and it was harmless. We were joking, but we made a fake account. I just burped into the mic again. I'm sorry.
Every time you burp, I take a sip of coffee.
Because I'm disgusting. No, so we made a fake Facebook account, and we messaged him. The name of the girl was Tatiana, which, I mean, how he didn't pick. No, I'm sorry. We did this another time. The first time, I don't remember the girl's name. So our roommate, Shane, big Northeast Guido. He had the blowout. He had like fake tan. Nice kid. Very nice, but like, and it's interesting, like, you're like, oh, you see like on Jersey Shore, like, oh, they're douchebags. Shane was such a nice kid, but he had the tendencies of like the blowout, the fake tan, and sometimes his personality would match that. But so we're like, let's fuck with this kid. We made a fake Facebook account, or it might have been MySpace, because we didn't need a college email. And we kept saying that we were this girl that works at the place he gets tans at. And we kept saying, we're like, oh, I work where you get a tan. I noticed you. I kind of found you. And he's like, oh my God. So he would be in the other room talking to her while we're in the other room being her. And he's like, dude, like, oh my God. It's like, we're dying in the other room. Finally, one day we're like, hey, why don't you come down? I'm working. Just ask for me. And he went all the way to the tanning place and asked for this girl. And then he comes back, and we had to break the news to him that it was a fake girl, but it's funny to say the least. Said he went through with it.
How did he handle it?
I think he was funny. He was laughing at it. I mean, it was harmless. We're not like, send a picture of your dick. Like, that would have been too much, but the simple, and we did that to Mike, Mike Meduno, the kid we stayed with him, my buddy Mike. He was my roommate in college. We were in like a suite, and this is when I think Facebook, we were able to make a fake account again. I don't remember how we used it, but we pretended to be a girl, and I like how we're pranking him, but we're the one being women. Oh, you should see the look on his face for getting pictures of his ass and balls. Like, but I remember we said our name was Tatiana, which is funny because in the cafeteria there was the packaged cookies were called Tatiana's cookies, and we're like, he's gonna know, and we're like, no, he's not. And we even said we were No, we didn't say we were Tatiana. So anyways, we claimed that we went to Wentworth too, and we lived on the floor. We were like, oh, I live in this building, and we said it was the same building as ours. And the floor below us too, and he's all talking to her, and then we were like, hey, come down, my roommates aren't here, we should hang out. And then he went down and knocks on this random door and goes, is Tatiana here? And they were like, what the fuck is that?
Oh no.
That was just a harmless prank.
Tatiana's like a good prank name. That sounds like a hot girl.
Tatiana, she could have been, I think we said we were half Puerto Rican. We had a little flair in us, but how do we get on the topic of sperm? We were talking about cats, and then we were talking about sperm.
I don't remember.
I don't either. I really don't care either. But, what show? Oh, I don't even fucking remember. The other show we're watching, let's just go on the show topic. We've been watching, speaking of people, it's interesting because, I was bitching about everybody in LA. We've been watching the show called Alone, which is a really good show. What is that on? Oh, it's on Netflix. Dude, it's just these people that, it's kind of a fucked up show if you think about it, being there's no limit. So basically, they get like 10 people, they all go into the wood, they drop them off in the woods. It's like, remember Survivor Man, where he would go live somewhere for 7 days? He would get picked up, though. This is like a endurance game show where these wilderness people all get dropped off alone. They're not together. They all get like put in this area. I think they're in like Saskatchewan, like Canada or some shit. And they basically have to just live and survive. I think they can bring like a couple things, and you just want to stay as long as you can until basically you can't, which is just like, I mean, that's, first off, it's just people eating birds. It's just a show where you watch people get so hungry, you see how low they'll go to what they'll eat, which is kind of funny. Like the first day, clearly one guy showed up full from dinner, and I remember he caught a fish and he was like, oh, I got to eat the eggs. And he's like dry heaving because of the eggs. And then you see other people that are like literally killing squirrels and like eating them in one bite. And I mean, I think the eating is my favorite part of that show. I like watching them eat, this is like a weird fetish. I don't know if it's a fetish where I'm like, why do I like watching somebody who hasn't eaten in 3 days eat something for the first time? It's like they enjoy it so much. I like watching people enjoy things at a euphoric level.
Well, when we watch these cooking shows, they take like a half a bite and judge the food and let it get cold, and it's just like, ugh.
And they spit it out and there's trash. And then I'm watching this guy eat like raw trout eggs, and he's like, he goes, you don't understand how good this tastes. And I even said, I'm like, imagine like how good, like one dude didn't eat, he was eating blueberries for like fucking 5 days. And then he caught a bird and he got to eat it. And they said in the description on the bottom, like, this bird tastes like chicken. And I'm like, this guy's eating wings. Like, imagine like being that hungry. But I was like, I love watching. I feel like I'm like a cuck for like people eating. I mean, I do. I watch like all these shows, all the cooking shows, but I mean, when you start adding starvation into the mix, it's pretty good.
Heightens it.
It really heightens it. I mean, I'd say I like watching them eat, and then the second thing is just like what they live in, or like building their, I mean, we've all built forts growing up. Actually, side story, I used to, when I was a camp counselor, I taught fort building 101.
Wow.
So,
for the show.
But I was in school for architecture, and it was like, I was like, oh, I can like, so I would have the kids draw their fort. This isn't in it's not even funny. I would have them draw a picture. I would put them in groups of like three, I think. And I'm like, all right, guys, draw what you want your fort to look like. And then that would take like a day, and then, or like the first session. And then the rest of like the 5 other times we met, they had to build it to look like that.
Did anybody do well?
No, they kind of got, actually some of them did okay, but I mean, they just got bored, and next, but anyways, it's crazy when we watch these people, I'm like, oh, they have to fucking live in that thing. But like the ladies, I mean, every woman on that show, Mandy is attracted to one of the ladies because she has a porn voice.
No, she has a hot voice. I just said it's weird that her voice is so different than her. She's got a hot voice.
She does have a hot voice. And then the other one was a legitimate model. Goes to show you can survive in the woods even if you got a vagina and a hot voice. But the women are good with the shelters. Although I didn't see that 56-year-old lady thing yet.
No, we fell asleep.
But the one lady, she's building a fucking. She's like, man, I'm burning a lot of calories. I'm like, yeah, bitch, you're building a house. Like, it was like a fucking 15 by 10 log cabin with like a foyer and like she has like a kitchen with built-in cabinets. I'm like, the fuck. And then the guys are just like building teepees and sleeping under grass. And I'm like, but it's a good show. I don't know where the funny is. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing that show. I think everybody, but like going back to like, you know, these fucking selfish people driving fast, all this shit. You take things for granted. It's fun to watch something where your life gets boiled down to enjoying eating a fish that you caught. Do we ever do? Sometimes I try to do shit like that. I don't know. It's like fun to, like when we fucking nut because we get veggie straws. It's fun to make your life boring to amplify things that otherwise wouldn't be fun. That's what COVID was. Remember the first time you went to like a fucking sat outside on the sidewalk at a restaurant during COVID and you're like, I've never had more fun in my life. Or like drinking with someone else in a room. Me and our neighbor, I remember like when people weren't so scared, I'd like go over there and like we would just sit in his living room and just drink tequila. I'm like, I felt like I was at a fucking club. I'm like, this is like, I'm like buzzing with social dopamine, but.
That's why they tell you to practice gratitude. Because we all don't like take a second to realize what we have.
That's true. When I do my morning pages, I end with gratitude. I say I'm grateful for my girlfriend, even though she farts at night.
Hey!
We'll bleep that out.
Hey!
Bleep that part out. I don't know. I want to live in the woods. I don't think I could, though. That show would give me anxiety. I mean, the one guy, he thought he got lost. And I like how, is it weird that I'm talking about a show and they don't even know what I'm talking about?
No.
Guys, go watch the show and then you'll know what the fuck I'm talking about. How's that sound?
Popular show.
You know what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, guys, that's it for the first portion of the episode. I really appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about. This is a fun little thing for me to do to get all this shit off my chest. And are you talking right now? This girl's just talking while I'm trying to do this. Anyways, appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, and if you want to see the rest of this episode, feel free to jump over to the link below, which is my OnlyFans, where I post the last 10 to 15 minutes, whatever I do, and it's fun, and I would love your support. But you don't have to do that. You can keep watching, and I'm happy regardless. Cool. Thanks, guys. See you later.
You bring her out, you have her hold small things. You bring her out, you have her hold small things. You bring her out, you have her hold small things. Hold small things.